I think as somebody that was raised by a single mom, like those things, they don't matter as much to your child as you think that they may. I mean, it did have an effect on my relationships growing up, but it's also something like you can learn from that experience through your parents, you know? Like you can, as long as you have open communication with your child, and I don't have any children, but I have younger siblings, and I'm openly communicative with all of my family members.
I think what's most important when it comes to kids is their love in the house. Do they see love between their parents? Mm-hmm. Not are they living the way of making people that go to church happy? Mm-hmm. It's a very downward deflecting question you're asking me, and I understand why you're doing it. However, I'll put love first in front of marriage every day of the week, because people get married in America every weekend, putting the marriage and the Facebook pictures before the actual love. So I'll take the love over all the bullshit.
I think that's probably true. There's a lot
It's definitely true.
There's a lot of hypocrisy out there, for sure.
There's a lot of hypocrisy in Christianity as well. Yeah. Like Bible thumping people that want to beat you up with their views and ask silly questions about things that don't matter. Like, is your kid going to be upset that you have other women? All I'm worried about is being a good fucking father and a provider and giving them a life full of love. And if I can do that, I've been quite successful. In fact, I'd say more successful than most Christians.
So my understanding of love,
shots fired.
My understanding of love is that it is totally wanting the best for the other person, and that it's committed, and that it's sacrificial, and that it's exclusive, it's faithful. And fidelity, I think, is a really important part of love. And if you don't have fidelity in love, then you don't have the security and the opportunity for full vulnerability.
Can I throw a hypothetical at you?
Yeah, please do.
And this is a hypothetical, please don't get offended. But if your husband were to do something that was not okay with you whatsoever, to the point where you did not any longer want to be with him, whether that's cheating or something else that's just a no for you, would you leave them?
Would stay.
Would you leave them to just please your children and to keep your family together? Is that like you're willing to risk your own happiness and well-being, or even safety, if it was something that was that extreme?
Are you talking about abuse?
I'm using a hypothetical.
Okay.
Whatever it is that would be like a straight, like, I need to leave this person. Would you stay with them just for the convenience and also the toxicity that it could bring into your household, inflicting your children, you know?
So my position is, and it's the position of the Catholic Church as well, which is that if you're in a situation in a marriage that's abusive, right, it's causing harm to you or your children, then you definitely should create separation. You should leave. You can actually get a legal divorce if you need to separate your assets. But the position of the church and my belief is that marriage is forever, until death do us part. Until death do us part. So you can marry someone and they become a screwball. You know, they totally mess up. They do bad things, and you should separate yourself from them for your protection or your kids' protection. But you then don't go on and just remarry and try to live another life. Now, there's something in the case if you were lied to. So there's something called annulment, which some people say, oh, that's Catholic divorce. It's actually not. Annulment is when it's as if the marriage never happened, because people were lying typically when they go into the marriage. So like typically abusers don't just start abusing after marriage, they're abusing before marriage too, or they're lying. So if they're lying to you in a serious way and you go into a marriage, you weren't able to freely choose that marriage. And so afterwards you can request an annulment from the church and be like, hey, I don't think I was even married because I didn't freely choose this. I didn't know this guy was a liar and, you know, addicted to being in abuse and all these things. And so in that case you could nullify the marriage and then be free to actually get married.
I want to say something just to be completely fair to you. I think what you have in your marriage is absolutely beautiful. No problem with it at all. I think that if you two are happy and like living together in the Lord, and like you see a future that goes past this life to heaven, I think that's a beautiful thing. No issue at all. Well, and you should be commended for doing it, you know, properly.
Well, but
not properly in regards to your religion. I don't mean to cut you off, but properly in regards to like what you are setting out to do with him. I think that's a beautiful thing.
Well, we're definitely imperfect people figuring it out, right? And that's what part of marriage is becoming better together, you know, in that total commitment to each other. But the thing is, like, I'm passionate about not just wanting it for myself, right? Like, I'm very grateful to be married. It has rooted my life. It has anchored my life. It has changed my life. But I don't want to just keep that to myself and be like, oh, this is just my personal thing over here. I want other people to have the opportunity for that too.
What do you think it takes for women to get in a position to find a husband that will commit to them fully and give their life to them? What do you think that takes?
Well, I think the first step is working on yourself and your own development as a woman, becoming the best that you can be, and then having good standards for the man that you're going to be with. Like, to be perfectly honest with you, I would not ever date a guy who I thought would be unfaithful to me. Not even date him. Never. If I found out my person I was dating is sleeping with other women or sleeping with anyone, honestly, because we didn't have sex before marriage, I'd be like, no, I'm not interested in that.
But I ask you what you think a woman needs to do.
I think the woman needs to become the best she can be. She needs to grow psychologically, be healthy. If she needs to heal from trauma from her childhood, a lot of us have baggage. I had baggage. Go get the therapy that you need. Really understand.
Do you not believe that therapy is in the church and Christianity?
Do I not believe what?
Do you not believe it's everything that you need is at church? You can't just find that in the Word.
Well, the beauty of Catholicism is it's very much focused on the whole person, right? So it's not like we're just spiritual beings, right? We're also bodies with desires, with traumas, with experiences. And so the psychological world and psychological health is an important part of bodily health, and it connects to your spiritual health. So therapy is great. Obviously we totally promote therapy for those that need it. Mental health is really important. So just because you're doing the right thing spiritually doesn't mean you're necessarily mentally healthy. You may need to get mental health support too. I think this is actually something a lot of people who are really spiritual fall into. They think, if I'm just pray enough, I can make my depression go away, right? And yes, sometimes God does just heal depression like that, but a lot of the time God uses natural means like a good therapist, a good psychiatrist to help somebody through that.
Or a good threesome.
Oh.
Hurrah!
I would say that's going to decline someone's mental health in the end, would be my
for some people, but that's again like it's so unique to the person. And I think so. You're talking about like spiritual, you're talking about bodily, mental. We're also sexual, and I
we
think
absolutely are.
That's the part, and like we have to find a way to healthfully channel that desire. And for you, that's through monogamous marriage. For me, that's through non-monogamy, and trusting like what is right for me is right for me, and what is right is right for you. And back to your question too about, what if all society was like you? But it's not. It's a spectrum. We have people all the way on the one extreme of monogamy. We have other people on the other extreme to polyamory. And like we're all somewhere across there. And I think there's beauty in all of it, depending on who you are and what's good for you. And so I don't think it has to be one or the other.
But Nick, you're 3 years in, right? You're 3 years in living this way. So look at 90 years. Look at 80 years. I don't know how long.
I'm thinking the same thing.
I don't know how old you want to live to.